Welcome to COTA. It's round 3 of the MotoGP World Championship, and here in After the Flag we have to discuss, of course, Marc Marquez. He has been dethroned. We talk about Alex Rins and his victory, Valentino Rossi, much more, and of course our predictions as well. Well, here we are then at the Circuit of the Americas. A beautiful day, a fantastic race where Alex Rins has picked up his first ever MotoGP victory, and sensationally, Marc Marquez crashes. I want to begin without talking about Marc just now. I just want to quickly bring up the jump start thing. It's happened again, guys. Maverick Vinales and Joan Mir, although the slow-mo footage that we got during the race, we can't really complain about that.
Crystal clear, both of them, when the lights were on, Steve, they were moving. Easy one for the FIM stewards, that one. The penalty was the ride through. No dramas for me at all.
Guys, I'd just like to say it's how easy it is to do, because anyone that rides a bike knows the thing is you don't want to be on the brake, the front brake, holding it back. You have your foot on the ground, and so you can't be on the front brake because your hand's going like this, ready to go. So it's so easy. All you need is a little bit of clutch drag, and the thing starts moving. So it's almost like the manufacturers will have to have one of those little park brakes on it, you know, like a car would have, and it comes off automatically. I think they've got there's too much money involved getting a ride through, you know?
Yeah, well, we've got some rowdy fans here with us at the moment, some Jack Miller fans, in fact, over here, and some Valentino Rossi fans as well, making some noise. We won't go into detail about what Maverick did with the penalty loop. It looks like there's a mix-up here with the team. We'll talk about that maybe when we get to Jerez. But what about the start? Marc Marquez, he got out front. It looked like he was going to dominate. I thought it was going to be the same old escape, just as it was in Argentina, but not so. Unbelievable mistake from Marc.
I'm still shocked, and I think I'll still be shocked when we get to Jerez in a couple of weeks' time that he threw it away like he did. You know, Marc hasn't made a lot of mistakes this year. We were talking about it in the commentary, Steve, about what, 30 seconds beforehand. Classic commentator's curse, you know, a 3.6 second buffer. I just could not see any way that he was going to throw it away. I mean, actually, for the spectacle, it made for a great race, but bad mistake for Marc, not only in terms of losing this race, but bad for his championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, yes, I put Marc down for the win, but I'm not shocked. There was some crashes. I remember saying to you guys last night, because of the bumps, it's so hard, you know, it's so easy, so hard not to make a mistake, you know. I just thought Marc would get away with it, you know, but he didn't.
Cal Crutchlow was up there as well. I mean, he crashed, he's low-sided. I've just attended his debrief quickly before getting changed to come and do this. Sounds like the old age problem that he had last year, Matt, where he struggled behind Valentino. He actually said he was going to give it 2 more laps and then he was going to pounce and try and pull away. Now, he's gutted because obviously he's just seen what's unfolded. He's saying that he just couldn't turn the bike, couldn't decelerate, so he's squeezing the brakes for longer, and unfortunately crashes out. And that's 2 races where he's come out really without any points.
Today, Cal would have seen that as a big opportunity to recover a lot of those points that he lost in Argentina. He looked really strong. It looked like he was just, like you say, Steve, biding his time, being patient behind Valentino Rossi, perhaps waiting to see when the Yamaha was going to run into some of those notorious rear grip issues. But yeah, that's a bit of a worry for Cal, because if he's in that pack, it is a historical problem for him. You know, when you're overheating the front tyre around this track, as Simon would know, there's so much hard braking and so much turning. You know, you're going to put yourself in that danger zone. Unfortunately, you know, Cal just tipped on the wrong side of it.
How difficult is that to accept as well, Simon? I mean, I know you want to give your thoughts, because that's 2 races now where Cal's had really strong opportunities to finish either second at least.
Yeah. No, you're right. I believe, you just told me what he said, and I'll be honest, watching the footage, I believe him, because he was putting pressure on Valley and it looked like he could make a move. The thing is, I just think with the bumps, with what's going on at the end of there's those fast sections, hard on the brakes. If you don't get enough speed scrubbed off early on the brakes, you're putting a lot of pressure on the later part, which is where you're also turning in. And I think that's what catches guys out here.
Getting over the shock of Marquez crashing, which is obviously one of the biggest talking points. I mean, he was the king of COTA. He's won every single race. Of course, him crashing left Valentino Rossi out front. Now, at that particular time, I think he had about 1.5 seconds over Alex Rins. Perfect opportunity for Valentino Rossi to end that win drought.
Yeah, we both have been fortunate enough to speak to Valentino after the race, Steve. I've got to say, he's got real mixed emotions, because initially, he was really shocked and surprised that Marc had gone down in front of him. He was still trying to keep some pressure on Marquez, even though the gap had gone over 3 seconds. But Valentino, he knew today was an absolutely golden chance to win that long victory day at Aston 2017. But to be fair to Valentino, he did say Rins was just that little bit faster. The Suzuki today just had that little bit better braking stability. And the key moment for Valentino was, he said, Alex on the last lap actually ran in hot at turn 11 because, let's not forget, Alex Rins was in a precarious situation. He can almost taste that first victory. He's got Valentino Rossi, the 46, breathing right down on his neck. The problem was, Rins went in wide at turn 11. Valentino almost got sucked in. He went even wider, lost all of his drive onto the back straight. But even so, I mean, we saw the pictures, didn't we, on the live. Davide Brivio, he had his head in his hands. He thought, we're going to lose this race. Valentino, the old master's going to do us on the last lap, but it wasn't quite meant to be.
Kept it honest, Simon. I mean, right until the very end. I mean, I think we ruled out in the commentary box Valentino for that win 3 times, and then he just kept on creeping back. And on the last lap, you're thinking, wow, one mistake from Rins and it's all over. But in the end, it is what it is. Rins wins with Suzuki. Valentino, how do you think he's feeling?
Valentino? Valentino, exactly how you guys already described it, and how he described it. He's really disappointed. He's missed an opportunity, but he also said, and I've got to agree, that Rins was faster in some sections, you know, stronger. The thing about Rins, and why I didn't pick him for the right spot on the podium, but why I thought he'd be strong is he's like Lorenzo Baldassarri is in Moto 2. At the end of the races, he's so strong. And he doesn't make mistakes, you know. Like,
he's so smooth.
Yeah, so good. He puts it all together, doesn't make mistakes, and hats off to him.
Rounding off the podium, we have Jack Miller. Went for the wrong tyres, had a really lonely race in the end, but a well-deserved podium, I think we all agree. It's been coming, Jack Miller. It's been a long time since we've seen him on the podium, but what a start to the year he's had, Qatar aside.
It wasn't all that lonely, was it, at the end of the race? I mean, Jack, at one stage, I mean, we looked at the timing screens, he was 6 seconds clear of Andrea Dovizioso, and then his front tyre just fell off a cliff. He wasn't comfortable on the medium in the dry on Friday. He was getting a lot of lock-in. That's why he went for the soft. He hung in there for as long as he could. Great to see Jack up there, though. You know, his first dry race podium. You saw what it meant to him after the race. You know, he's fighting for a factory ride in 2020. You know, I reckon this weekend, Steve, you know, they've had a bit of Lamborghini sponsorship on here. Jack's been posing around Austin with a Lamborghini. I reckon now's the right time. Just going to ask for the keys on a permanent basis.
I just heard him ask. I went and congratulated him in the box there, and he's asking them, like, jokingly, but I think he's serious here. Hey, I'm super happy for Jack. I was so excited to get to interview with him, you know, after the race. And the thing is, I knew it was coming, honestly. I think we all did. We could see how strong he was. He loves the 2019 bike, and he's been threatening this for a while. I really thought he was on the verge of doing it anyway. And the thing that I really respect him for is that he wasn't happy with the front tyre, and he hung on in that race, and no, he wasn't close to the leaders in the end, but he stayed on the bike and finished, you know, and that's really mature as well as being fast. I really believe that Jack, when he's happy, you know, in future races, meaning he's chosen the right tyres and that, he's going to do something even more impressive.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, Simon, and I completely agree with you, and I think Matt does as well, is like if you look at last year, I mean, he said in the press conference, last year the wheels fell off in Mugello. He's got to keep this going all year. I mean, then he has a really big chance of getting a factory ride.
He's got a bike now that has an advantage in that straight. You go to Mugello, for example, he's got a stronger bike than he's ever had at Mugello. With places like this, that's what I think.
And it's not easy, is it, on tracks like this, to come and beat Andrea Dovizioso and Danilo Petrucci on the same bike. That's who you've got to gauge Jack against. Every single session we had and the race, he was by far the strongest Ducati. And had it not been for that seat problem he had in Qatar, he could have easily been looking at 3 top 6 finishes to kick off this year. It's important now that Jack keeps that ball rolling.
Hey, we've got to talk about the guy who's finished 4th today. If this was a game of Monopoly, the get-out-free jail card goes to Andrea Dovizioso. A disaster yesterday. 13th on the grid. I didn't think he was going to be anywhere near the top 5, but with a couple of falls, I mean, that is a huge result. He's remarkably going to go into Jerez as the championship leader.
You know what I think happened is through practice and qualifying, he wasn't happy, was he? He didn't feel comfortable, he wasn't going well, and we lost some practice due to weather conditions, and then none of us picked him for a podium or anywhere near. Well, okay, maybe near, but none of us thought he would get a podium last night. And then he came out in morning warm-up and
he was
nailed it, didn't he? He was fast. And it's almost as if he just needed a bit more track time to find the setting and turn up.
The start was key in the first lap, Steve. I mean, starting 13th, I think he gained 6 places on the first lap. He always said, actually, throughout the weekend, if you cast aside that horrible strategic mess he made of Q1, using only one soft tyre, that he felt like he had the same pace as that second group. Pretty much how it panned out. He wasn't quite as quick as Rossi and Rins, but like you said,
that'll feel like a win.
A 4th place, what a bonus. I mean, to be leading the championship and coming from 13th to 4th, he's going to be celebrating that like he's taken the full 25 points.
Yeah, unbelievable things to be said about that. Of course, Maverick Vinales, we already know about the penalty, but this is really, really painful, and this is going to hit him hard in the championship.
I can't believe I'm already saying this. I mean, we haven't even got to Europe yet. 3 rounds of the championship. Maverick's not going to be the world champion this year. He is not going to claw back that kind of deficit. 40 points. You know, he started today 6th place. Okay, it was the jump start, but straight away, he'd already lost a couple of spots on that first lap. It's just not clicking at all for Maverick.
That's the thing, isn't it? That even if he hadn't got the jump start, he wasn't going to be on the podium today.
You know, Maverick is a great rider. I don't think, I mean, it's the reason Yamaha are paying him so much money, you know, and everyone believes he can do it. But they've got to be, like I said last after the flag, horrified. You know, I'm sure there's some serious meetings going in there because, you know, it's I think nothing short of a disaster so far this season, you know.
I wonder what Yamaha are thinking. Sorry, Steve, I wonder where Yamaha are at right now, you know, because their future was Maverick Vinales. 3 rounds into the championship, he's been easily beaten by his teammate in all 3.
Exactly.
The 40-year-old, you know, ageless Valentino Rossi still right there, the top Yamaha. It's amazing.
Okay, I want to recap on just a couple of things, but before we do that, of course, we went through our predictions yesterday. Let's take a look and see who was closest. Okay, my prediction for the race here in Austin, I think we're all going to go for Marc Marquez as race winner. That's not really a massive surprise, but 2nd and 3rd is really, really hard. I was actually thinking about this in the press conference, and it's between 3 riders. It's between Rossi, Crutchlow and Rins for me. So I'm going to go Cal Crutchlow 2nd. Rins or Rossi? Rossi 3rd. That's my call.
Well, this is going to sound pretty boring and pretty predictable, but I'm going for the exact same top 3 as the front row. Marc Marquez, it's going to be a magnificent 7 for him in cowboy country here in Texas. Rossi to be 2nd, Crutchlow to be 3rd, making up for that jump start. So yeah, for me, it's as you were in terms of the front row of the grid. Marquez, Rossi, Crutchlow. Yeehaw!
My prediction is Marquez, Rossi, but 3rd, I'm not sure, between Rins, Crutchlow and Jack. But I'm going to go Rins because he falls off a little bit less.
Well, I'm glad it's a 19-round championship, I've got to say, because I'm not getting anything right at the moment. Unfortunately, my prediction wrong. You guys got Valentino Rossi in 2nd.
Do you know what, in commentary, Steve, I could barely contain my excitement. Those first 5 or 6 laps, I was thinking, I'm quids in here. Marquez streaking away, Rossi 2nd and Crutchlow 3rd. I thought, I've nailed it here. And then, of course, it all went horribly wrong. Yeah.
I thought I had it nailed.
Oh, come on, guys. These are just predictions. They don't matter.
Guys, I've never been so happy, well, so far, that I was wrong, you know, because Suzuki, they've deserved it since late last year, a win, and so's Rins, I think, you know, and now it's finally here. Then Jack, I'm totally wrapped for him, you know, he's been knocking on the door for a while, and Valley, who's not happy for Valley, you know, but the last thing that is fantastic is Marc actually deserved to win here, but I'm super happy for the championship because now it's wide open, you know.
Well, I want to just quickly recap on this before we close the show. Marc Marquez, this is, and we said in the commentary box, you start the season off, you look at Austin, you look at Sachsenring, and you say 50 points to Marc Marquez, close the book. How much is this going to hurt?
This was one of his banker races. This is going to sting, Steve, yeah, because he loves this place. He's been so dominant, 7 pole positions in a row. This was his race for the taking, as Simon said. I had a chat with some of the Honda guys afterwards. They said Mark's just pretty much held his hands up and said, I can't blame the bumps, I can't blame anything else, nothing wrong with the bike, I just made a mistake. I was pushing, I felt like I was in the zone, but I just pushed over that limit. I mean, it was a comedy of errors, wasn't it? I mean, he dropped the bike twice.
I know.
He had his Friday crash on Sunday.
Exactly.
That's a true story.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he looked squeaky clean for the rest of the weekend. So he's going to have to lick his wounds as we go into Jerez. Valentino Rossi, really important questions being asked to him in the press room. He's got to be happy when he looks back because he's only 3 points down in the championship. But are we all agreeing that if he's there in Jerez, if he can do this again in Jerez, he's got a serious chance of fighting for this World Championship?
That's exactly what he said to me after the race, Steve. This sequence of races that are coming up now in the championship, Jerez, Le Mans, Mugello, Barcelona, Assen, they're circuits that Valentino Rossi absolutely loves. He said the worst of that bunch is Jerez. If they're on the money there, Yamaha, then he feels like he's got a great crack at winning that 10th world title this year. Fingers crossed for Rossi and Yamaha in Jerez.
Me too, I got fingers crossed, but I'll be honest, I don't believe that Yamaha have fixed their problems enough to fight for the win in Jerez, you know? And I genuinely hope I'm wrong, because if he does, if we're talking after the flag in Jerez and Valley has been fighting for the win, then we can be really excited. He's going to be fighting for the championship.
We've got a couple of weekends off before we bring you after the flag from Jerez. The last word has to go with the race winner. We can't emphasise enough how important that is for Alex Rins and Suzuki. As for the rider himself, it just goes to prove the qualifying, doesn't it? I mean, if he sorts that out, guys, he genuinely is going to be someone that can fight Marc for this World Championship, and Dovizioso and Rossi if he's going to be there. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, Steve. We've always said that Suzuki have put themselves machine-wise in a position where they can win this championship. It looks like they've found a talent in Alex Rins that can do it from the rider side. I just want to see Alex in 2 weeks' time in Jerez, because apparently he's done an interview somewhere where he said if he wins a MotoGP race, he's going to end up looking like this. He's going to shave his famous locks. So I want to see now whether he's going to be true to his word. But yeah, fantastic win for Alex, the first of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll repeat what I said before about Suzuki have deserved it for a while. You know, they've given Alex the package that is not too bad on tyres, obviously. It handles really well. It's fast enough to go with the other guys. And then Alex has got on it, and I think he's making the difference because yeah, his qualifying's not really good, but every time he's super strong in the race and good at managing the tyre. But finally, the big one is he doesn't make mistakes. Touch wood for him in the next one.
Well, listen, guys, I think that's pretty much wrapped things up here in Austin. An unbelievable day, not one anyone really saw coming. And we're off to Jerez, of course, and back to the European schedule. An unbelievable day here, and 9 points separating 4 riders in Jerez. Bring it on. Thank you so much for joining us here in COTA. We hope you had a good time. We're off out to 6th Street here in Texas. We'll see you in Spain.
Oh, Marquez is crashed! Oh my goodness me! I can't believe it! Oh, here comes Rins, just on cue. Rins has found a gap. A remarkable race. The checkered flag is out here in Austin. The factory Suzuki rider has done it. He wins his first ever MotoGP